Hey, Rock Gamers. We've been talking in the Alliance chat with people who haven't been fighting yet in KVK3. They haven't participated in the ruins, and it's almost exclusively people who are saying they don't have good commanders to fight. Now, when you're in KVK3, there's really 8 good legendary commanders that are available for use. There are Constantine, there are Edward of Woodstock, Alexander the Great, Aetheflaed, Richard I, YSG, Saladin, and then Tamaris. Now, there's some other commanders, I guess Charles Martel is also pretty good. There's other commanders. There's some gold key commanders like Frederick the First, Cao, and so on. And those commanders, there's also Khan. Khan is also good. There's options out there for commanders that can be of help. Now, I just want to say, if you don't have legendaries that are available, there are some really good options to have as epics. One option, surprisingly good, is Kiera with Herman. Now, Kiera is for a epic, has pretty good damage factor and AoE, so she does 1,000. Now that's just a barb skill here, so ignore that. But she gives 10% increase attack and defense for archers when you have archer only there. And there's a skill damage bonus that she gives of 80%. There's only a 10% chance, but 80%. And then this, with expertise, is the, get a 15% additional damage to each target. Or it's reduced by 15% for the AoE, sorry, misread that. And does damage over time. So that's all good stuff. Herman, in addition, he also does the direct damage and reduces rage by 100 and silences for 2 seconds. So that's great as a secondary commander. He gives the 10% increased attack and march speed for archers. And there's the 10% normal attack and 10% chance of, on a normal attack, granting rage, so a rage engine. So that's a good combination. Now, I think the best combination will actually be Bjorn as your primary and Suntzu as your secondary. That is a pretty good infantry pairing. Damage factor 700, fan shape area, and the 15% increased skill damage. Now it's for attacking cities, so ignore that. For ruins fights, infantry get 10% increased attack and defense from him. And normal attacks have a 10% chance to deal direct damage to a target once every 5 seconds. So you could do up to 1,500 damage to a target with Bjorn. With expertise, that's as you saw before. Now, Suntzu has a rage engine. So in addition to him doing 800 damage in the fan shape area up to 5 targets, he gains an additional 50 rage for each target he hits. So in a Ruins fight, he is generating rage fast. That is great. Damage taken, he reduces damage taken by 10% and gets an increased 10% health. Does 20% increased skill damage. And there's that with expertise. So that's a great march. Now, another option is if you want to go cavalry, it's Belisarius with Baybars. Belisarius is a good speed guy, reduces attack reduction, defense reduction, direct damage factor. Right here, cavalry, he gains 30% increased defense, and then when you leave battle, he gets away from the battle quick. So when you start to get pulled in, you can pull him back out of that, and he'll leave the enemy territory to get out of there fast, so you can escape getting swarmed. And when you get a low health march, he does 25% additional damage when you've got the enemy below 50%. So he's great for picking off wounded marches. Baybars has an AoE up to 5 targets and a damage factor of 1,000, which is really good. It decreases their march speed, so their escapability is reduced. So that is really helpful. 20% increase attack for cavalry. That's attacking cities, irrelevant. He's got a small healing factor and increased march speed. So I do like the Belisarius Baybars as an option. Yeah, you've got some options. Now, not everyone's going to have Kira. You have to grab her from doing this Soroli Crisis. But if you got her, that's an option. I think your best option is the Bjorn Suntzu with Belisarius Baybars as a backup option. Those are probably your top 2 options. If all you have is epic commanders, because everyone should have those 2. Now, there are some options where if you have Aetheflaed expertise, you can bring in Suntzu with Aetheflaed and run infantry. And then your Aetheflaed will have a range engine from Suntzu. You can, run some of them others, or you can run someone as a secondary that does a slow as an effect to Aetheflaed, and use mixed march with her, and the reason for that, I'm gonna look for it here. Okay. When troops led by this commander consist of 3 or more different unit types, troops gain 20% additional attack. That is 20% is quite a lot, so she really benefits from having mixed troops. I mean, you don't have to have that. She does some good damage without that, but it helps. So if you don't have, a single troop type with another commander like Suntzu, you can use mixed troops. Those would be my top picks. Don't bring Loharian. He's not very. He's a barb commander. Don't bring him in there. Aetheflaed with Joan as a secondary is a really good option. If you can't necessarily cause a lot of damage yourself, the buffing effect from having Joan as a secondary is super helpful for the kingdom. I mean, even if you're getting wrecked yourself, the buff you're giving your teammates from Joan, top notch. Everyone will appreciate what you're doing for the kingdom when you bring Joan in. Just don't bring her in as a primary. Bring her in as a secondary. And you can really go with, her secondary to a lot of different commanders. Belisarius, Suntzu. You're giving up that AoE with, if you put her in as secondary to Suntzu. But, not Suntzu, Belisarius. But, like I said, the buff you're giving everyone, top notch. Absolutely top notch. If you've got Aetheflaed, even if Aetheflaed is not maxed, Joan's a great secondary for Aetheflaed in the Ruins fights. So if you think that you do not have great legendary options, don't be afraid to come in with epics. You're being there in the fight is what matters the most. You're being there to support the kingdom. You're being there and trying. Kingdom leadership will almost always notice who's in on the fights, especially those who are in all the time. And if they see that you're in there trying every ruin fight, and you come out with 800,000 kills at the end of KVK, or at the end of all the ruin fighting, they're gonna overlook the final kill number really more than anything, because you were there and you were trying. Really, that is the most important factor, that you're there and you're giving your all. Tag along behind a T5 player. Watch them, follow them. When they hit someone, you hit the same march. And generally speaking, that T5 player's not hitting a march by themselves. They're hitting a march and 2, 3, 4 others join in. When that happens, you're getting kills. And the enemy is, generally speaking, gonna target the T5 fighter before you. So don't be afraid to find a T5 player. Fall in behind them. Absolutely. Come in there with Suntzu Joan. If you all you have is epics. Come in there with Aetheflaed Joan if you have Aetheflaed. Even if your Aetheflaed's not maxed, as long as you got her to level 60, get her up to level 60, or even level 50 if that's all you can get. If you don't have the stars to get her to 60, get her to 50. And then you open up all the skills, even if she's 4-1-1-1, just get her in there with a Joan backup secondary commander. Follow in behind the T5 and do your best. That's all kingdom leadership in any kingdom is going to ask, that you do your best. If you're making that effort every time, it'll be noticed. It will absolutely be noticed. And you'll find your experience on how to fight in there will improve. You will learn to do better every time you go in there. On my first couple KVKs, I had less than 1,000,000 kills. Not because I didn't make the effort. Every time I was online or could be online, I was in a ruins fight, and I was helping out with whatever I could. And that's all you can really do in KVK. Give it your all. All right. As you can see, I've got some stalkers to take care of here. So enjoy playing Rise of Kingdoms, and we'll see you next time.